torrential rains fueled what Spanish officials say was the worst
Phoenix will be next.
Saudi officials say temperatures have been soaring near 49 degrees Celsius.
And on the streets tonight, an old man plays.
All right, we begin this hour with a massive Russian strike over Ukraine.
Well, newspaper cuttings of the story days. If you tolerate this, then your children will be next. If you tolerate this, then your children will be next. Will be next. Will be next.
Well. We are back again. And we should be live, okay? I mean, yeah, you'd think by now I would know what I was doing, right? So I'm assuming we're cooking by gas, hopefully, back again. Most likely the last time of... They're saying it's 2024, so I'll take their word for it. The year 2024. So yeah, that's what we're going to be covering tonight. How long it's going to take, I don't know. Let's not even go there. It'll take as long as it takes. I reckon maybe done by the back of 12 tonight. So UK time, of course. Anyway, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are in this absolutely insane world that we live in. Yikes. Where do you even begin? Oh, the beginning. Yeah, wherever that is, right? So we're back again, and we're gonna be looking at... I've kind of cherry picked different events, different, yeah, we'll call them events that have happened in 2024. And there's been quite a lot, to be honest. So I had to kind of break it down, do a bit of cherry picking, take what might be most relevant, I don't know, the best, the most interesting, the most strange maybe. But to be fair, I looked through quite a few different websites, and Britannica, they've got quite a well documented kind of diary of each day, what might have happened that day. Went through, there's a Wikipedia one, which to its credit's not too bad. There's another one, the one that I went with, it's called On This Day, which we've looked at, I don't know, several times in the past. We've used it quite a lot. It's quite interesting. We've used it looking at past dates on a certain date, and things seem to happen over and over constantly, like almost in a kind of repetition sense. And again, hey, there's nothing new under the sun, right? That is for sure. So we'll say hello and then we'll get down to it. I've got the dog here. Where is he? He's lying down, sleeping, getting ready for the big 2025, right? And we're on the double coffee tonight, so no sleep. No sleep for the wicked. Let's go with that. So we'll say hello. Hopefully everyone's doing all right, and you can let us know what you're doing for the. Does anybody else call it Hogmanay, or is it only in Scotland? Because I think Scotland invented Hogmanay in New Year. Of course, Scotland invented pretty much everything. What's my dog doing now? Now he's wanting attention. Heard me talking about him clearly. Let me see if I can work the screen quickly. I noticed Jerry in the hood. Good to see our Irish brother Jerry. Hopefully we're all right for the audio. Been a long day today. In the whole Christmas period, it's exhausting, man. Yeah, when you're a parent and you've got kids and it's constant, not non-stop. So going into Hogmanay, hey, if you don't laugh, you'll cry, right? But yeah, I've mentioned it before. I'm kind of glad when it's over, and it's about January 4th, 5th, 6th, and it's out the way, and we can look to the year ahead, right? 2025. What it'll bring, who knows, right? God only knows, but hey, we take it on head first. So good to see Jerry in the hood. Where did oh, it's Al Mark. There it goes there. Good to see you, Al Mark. Back again. RD in the hood. The beautiful Justine back again. Good to see you, Justine. Bill's here. Good to see you, Bill. Long time no see. Sheila's in the hood. Fantastic. Good to see you, Sheila. Hope you're doing well. Robert's here, but he's not. Well, he's here, but he's on Facebook. Anybody else that I missed? Ulick there quickly. Good to see you, Ulick. I hope you and Joni are doing well. Heading into the next year of wonder. Let's call it that, right? The next year of wonder. Bill, Jerry, RD, Sheila, Justine. Oh, Toffee's here. Good to see you, Toffee, our brother from England. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a good time. And I reckon, Refuse Nick in the hood as well. Good to see you. I'm trying not to hung about. I thought, right, usually I'll take too long to get going. That, and usually it ends up being, 4 hours, which is like, I don't know, it's too long, man. It's it's a different story if there was like 3 people, 2 people maybe. But when it's just me, I kind of think, well, it's too long. But it's not like there's nothing to cover. Excuse me. It's not like there's nothing to cover as I destroy the place. So it's never ending. Sometimes I guess it takes the time it takes, right? That's my excuse anyway. But I'd like to try and cut it down. But I've said that in the past. And hey, it does not seem to happen. Let's be honest. So we'll try our best, right? Maybe going into 2025, that could be something that we can try together and see how well we can do. So hopefully everyone's doing well, and nobody got a lump of coal or, I don't know, a tangerine. Although, to be fair, what's wrong with getting a tangerine or an apple for Christmas, right? Yeah, Christmas. I mean, it's fine when you're a kid. When you're an adult and you've got your own kids, it's a different story. financially. I mean, the way prices are as well, and the want of a child is, I guess, endless to an extent when it comes to the consumption of technology and toys and what have you. So yeah, you do your best. You've got to do your best. We try not spoil. Obviously, you don't want to spoil your kids, which is a financial blessing, I suppose. But you don't want to not give them anything, right? So you do what you can, but you want to teach them that you don't want to spoil them. And I get a bit annoyed with people who they clearly spoil their children. And I mean, each to their own. Don't get me wrong; it's not my kids, but and then they kind of virtue signal about it. Like, oh, look in a photo of a living room that's just chock a block with a million billion Christmas presents, and I think, well, it's all right, but for people who might not have anything, that's probably not what they want to see. Let's face it, right? So, yeah, and I see that quite a lot, and I don't see it. I don't know why people do it, but hey, that's each to their own, right? So we're back again. Like I said, I've kind of picked out different bits. We'll pass comment. I'll try and keep an eye on the comments. And I think maybe if I can get my phone, that might be easier. If I had two screens, that would probably make sense, right? That's something that my youngest son wanted, like a gaming computer, and the gaming monitor. And it's like, wow, I mean, the price of stuff is astonishing. Quite astonishing, to be honest. Different even from when I was growing up. But there you go. You do what you can. But I'll try and keep an eye. I mean, technology-wise, I'm not that gifted anyway. I try and keep it basic, but as natural as possible, without the use of too much effects and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, it would be easy to overdo it with effects and I don't know, explosions and noises going off here, there, and everywhere. But I try and keep it simple. And I mean, the channel is what it is. It grew into whatever it is. Basically, there was no, there's never been any plan or script to go by. So it's kind of grown into what it is. The community around it's grown, attracted a lot of great people since, well, it kind of started in 2019. The ball pretty much got rolling in 2020 with the whole, with the, what happened in 2020 again? I can't remember. When the whole circus rolled into town. And I mean, to be honest, even at that point, I was unsure of what I'd be doing and what we'd cover and what would be said, but I just wanted to be open and honest to a degree and make content that I enjoyed making. So, yeah, that's what I've continued to do, basically. Nothing's really changed. I think I've got better as time's got on, but I mean, other people might think different. I don't think you could get any worse, but yeah, I might be an exception to that, to be fair. So I've just tried to improve over time, kind of like self-taught, and yeah, the channel's grown into whatever it is grown into. Of course, it's got history of the terminations. Whether or not it'll be terminated again, God only knows. It's like I mentioned before, it is under a bit of a it's not liked by YouTube, the powers that be. Shock horror, right? I wonder why. It must be because I'm Scottish, right? They don't like Scottish people, the powers that be. So I don't know. If it's not, then I'll continue elsewhere because we're already on Odyssey and Rumble and BitChute. And of course, we're on Facebook and we're on X marks the spot. So if we if we get shut down, the likelihood is I'll still continue. So that'll be, I think we're talking maybe 5 years now. Which I don't know. I kind of thought I'd do it for maybe about 2 years, and we're still here now. So we'll keep going, right? And hey, I've always said, look, as long as I can, let me sort this. As long as I enjoy making the content, I'll keep going, and we'll take it from there. If it's not on YouTube, we'll go elsewhere. In reality, it does not have to be. At the end of the day, and I mean, just going back to getting terminated. I was surprised to get it back once, but to get it back twice is a bit like. I mean, it's that kind of absurd and unheard of. People probably think, well, that's a bit weird. He must work for the CIA or MI6 or MI5, right? So totally busted, but yeah, got it back twice, which I find quite astonishing because deleted for what they called medical misinformation. So other channels that got deleted for similar, bigger channels at the time, surely they could have won an appeal if I had won one, right? you would imagine. And some of these people, they've got like lawyers and, I mean, me, a nobody from Elgin, manages to win the appeal twice on termination. I mean, with that said, anybody surely could do it. So I was kind of surprised going back to when I guess the likes of David Icke and other kind of big names on YouTube, if you like, they got terminated and were all fucking giving it and said it was for medical misinformation, and they went away elsewhere and kind of started this whole thing in another place off of YouTube. And who else as well? I think Mark Segan and other individuals. And I thought, well, surely to fuck, if I can win it, anybody can win it, man. I mean, it can't be just down to luck to get it back twice, right? It can't be. So I don't know. I really don't know. We'll keep going anyway. We'll see what the score is. I'll continue to create content. My throat's roached, man. I think because at the football on Saturday, my throat's still completely fried. I never lost my voice, but in fact, it's been a while since I lost my voice. But yeah, that can be annoying. Definitely. Although my wife might disagree. My wife would disagree. Yeah, it's not so annoying for her. So yeah, we're back again. Anybody else that I missed quickly? Ross in the hood. Apex card as well in the hood. Good to see you. I hope you are doing well. Oh, Sue's here. I hope you're doing well, Sue. Sue and Paul in the hood. Jerry, Sheila, Ross, Ulick, Joni. I think we're good to go. I don't want to kind of mess around for too long. Usually I'm about an hour fucking about and just kind of saying hello and talking about stuff. So you can let me know how your year's been and what you expect of 2025, right? Yeah, I kind of thought maybe I should pick out what's good from 2024, but I couldn't find anything. Not in the kind of media sphere. Of course, you get good stuff in life, personally, I guess, individually, family, friends, and for me, nature, and I guess maybe the odd football game and getting out with my son. So that definitely, there's been aspects of that from the past year that I've definitely enjoyed and I would like more of. Like I'd mentioned in a video before, I kind of want to try and improve a bit on time that I spend with people that I love and manage my time a wee bit better. Touch wood, right? I mean, hey, I don't know. It's hard. It is hard. So, I mean, yeah, I can begin to. We can all work on different things. I'd imagine because hey, nobody's perfect, right? Seemingly, nobody's perfect. So, yeah, I think if you're always, hey, you're never going to be perfect, but I think if you're always kind of striving to be what you believe is a better person and a stronger person and a kind of a person to maybe, especially when you've got kids, and for people to kind of maybe look up to as a maybe an example, a good example of what might be a good person, a strong character, a strong individual, knew what he stood for, cared about for what was right, basically, by humanity, and was not fooled, man. Was not fooled by a lot of the deception that that we're in. I think again going back over the past few years, 2024 again, it's been a year where a lot of people have thought, wait a minute. Yeah. World's a bit weird, right? The world's a bit weird. Something might not be right here. Who else quickly? Saladin in the hood. Good to see you, Saladin. I hope you're doing well. Toffee, Basil, Faulty in the hood. Good to see you, Basil. Oh, Tree Dude as well. There you go. I hope you're doing well, Tree Dude. So I'll try and keep an eye on the chat. Let me see if I can work the screen. If we get any, excuse me, if we get any audio issues, then let me know, right? My voice is going again. Nightmare, man. Pick the perfect time, right? Typical. Anyway, it was a good weekend with my son, but at the game, that's another story, right? That's another story. I can't hear you. Can you hear me all right, or is the audio low? Let's get an audio check before we continue, right? Let me see. Audio's fine. Sue's getting put on a timeout. Sue's getting timed out. Let me see. Right, we're good for audio. Let me see if I can work the screen. If not, I can easily sort it out. You sound like Darth Vader. Yeah. Hey, at least I've not lost my voice, so I thought it was good enough to go. If it disappears, someone can jump up and take it from there, right? Why is it not working, man? Let me see. Paul can take over and cover it. What? Oh, there we go. So yeah, I wonder what maybe stood out for people in 2024. Where do you start, right? Honestly, I had to break it down. I had to take out the first kind of slideshow I made. I think it was a 67, 68. And I thought, nah, it's too much. It's too much, man. So I took that out. Well, I took some out, but it was awkward to try and decide, man. I hate trying to choose anything that involves me making a decision. It's a nightmare. So I broke it down a wee bit to a wee bit less, right? We'll try and I'll try and look at the comments, and we'll try and get a bit of opinion on events that have happened. But only if it works and my voice holds up. And it would help if I can read the screen. Why is... there we go. So we just started January and worked through, and I picked out different things. And like I mentioned at the start, I'd been looking at loads of different... for the past 2 weeks, loads of different articles and websites that talked about fucking hell, that talked about news stories that happened this year. And there was a lot of stuff that I kind of forgot about. Do you know, I was looking at it, and I was quite shocked. The amount of stuff that had happened, man. I just thought, do you know what, that's quite a lot of different events each month. When you in hindsight looking back, and I was wondering, I wonder what it would be like in comparison to previous years. Are we now experiencing more and more so-called events right across the board, right? Is it into overdrive because we're so lucky? Of course, yeah, we are not worthy. So we started at the very beginning, wherever that is. And interestingly enough, on the 1st of January 2024, a magnitude 7.6 earthquake in Japan, estimated killed 120, injured more than 100. What year did they have the Boxing Day earthquake? 2010. Was it 2010 or 2011 maybe? No stranger to an earthquake, Japan, right? Interesting country, Japan. Again, the first, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE become BRICS members. BRICS. Do we know what that stands for? Oh, don't tell me we're going to have a Wi-Fi issue. You'll be getting the blame for that, Beans. We should be alright. Typical, but I'll try and keep an eye on it. If it goes, man. But we'll see how it goes. Was it 2011? Yeah, Fukushima. Is it still leaking, the Fukushima? Remember they said, oh, it's leaking, but there's nothing we can do. We've just got to let it leak and poison the ocean. I shouldn't laugh, but I mean, if it's to be believed that it is leaking a toxic spew into the sea. I mean, these power plants and stuff, I know there's an argument for kind of like, well, energy and fucking blah, blah, but they give me the creeps, man. Honestly, they freak me out a bit. I worked on a substation, state-of-the-art, new build, and even that was a bit funny. But a nuclear power plant, I don't think I could. I've been past. There's one near Peterhead, and well, not far from Peter in Scotland, and I've been by it, and it's just freaked me out a bit. Anytime I've read about them, I'm not a fan of them. But they're dotted right across the world. But yeah, hey, people argue for, people argue against it, but yeah, so BRICS I think would be an abbreviation of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And basically it's I think a bit like is it the G7, G20? So it's like a organization of countries, you know, these so-called independent nations, what do you call it? Sovereign nations. But then they're all tied at the hip through another means, similar to what this is. But I don't know if they'll have to change the name because I think other countries have joined it. So it seems a bit unfair to just call it BRICS after Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And it's a bit like, because when I read about it, it talked about how basically it's an organization, and this was coming from the Carnegie fucking institution. It was a organization network of different nations that was another part of what they called the global order. It was the global order, part of the global order. That's what they call it. they don't even hide it. There's no even like there's just no hiding it these days when they're talking about a global order or walking into a new age, a new golden age. And of course, even Trump and the Trump crew have been saying, "Oh, the new age, the new golden age," and it's like, no, come on. People are falling for it, right? People fall for it. But that's the way it is. I understand. As much as I wouldn't see me falling for it, in my personal opinion. But with that said, I can't understand how. Yeah, there we go. We got the Wi-Fi fell, so we got cut off. We should be back, but there is quite a. The weather's quite bad here. So between my throat and the bad weather, we're struggling. But hey, we'll try our best, right? We'll try our best. We'll see what the score is. We'll take it from there. I see Frankie in the hood. Good to see you. And Daryl as well. Hope you're both doing well. Let me move that. Yeah, hey, in one hand, I can understand people falling for it and having that bit of hope. Things are that bad, man. And it just it shows you the state of the world that we're in. Things are that bad. Their only hope is these false entities, and it's like, well, what can you say, right? Um, a lot of them they'll always find they're always going to have a kind of excuse as of to let them off. Like in the past, Trump might have obviously come. In the end, Trump was no use, but the mad brainwashed will say, well, it's because of this or it's because of that deep state, blah, blah. So there is a lot of people, they'll find an excuse, but others, they'll see through it and begin to realise that these kind of entities, they're actors, they're puppets put before us to kind of shepherd us like the herd that we are, and that's clearly what they do. That's what they do, man. That is what they do. But it's a global entity that clearly pulls the strings. There's nothing done for the benefit of a sovereign nation, or a so-called sovereign nation. There is no sovereign nation. It's, hey, like they said in They Live, 1987, maybe 8. When did it come out? 1980. Ah, bugger. Was it 1984? Anyway, it was in the late 80s, and the guy said, "Oh, there is no sovereign nations anymore," and that was a nod to the truth. It was like a science fiction kind of Hollywoody movie make believe, but in reality, it was the truth. It was the truth said in kind of jest. Because again, and it's not even hidden, man. It's not even hard to go and look and go and see. You've got these kind of entities pulling the strings of several nations, man. All working together while, in a lot of cases, claiming to be enemies. So they're all in the same club, and we're all pitched up against one another. And of course, we suffer, we pay. I mean, I did see as well, I think it was today, you know how you've got Russia and Ukraine, seemingly they're at war and they can't come to a deal or be peace in what they I think it started in 2014, this current one. But before that, there wasn't one. They can't go back to that state. They can't find an agreement. But they can somehow make an agreement on the exchange of prisoners. But nothing else, right? And the war continues to go on. And of course, that is obviously going to be talked about. That one there again, January the 1st, Ethiopia makes a controversial deal with Somaliland to lease part of its coastline, including becoming the first country to recognise it as a separate country from Somalia. Somaliland. And to be independent of Somalia. So separate. You'd think he'd come up with a better name, right? Than Somaliland. Surely. But there you go. Good luck to them, right? Good luck to them. January 2nd, Japan Airlines Flight 516 crashes into Coast Guard plane and burns during landing at airport in Tokyo. All 379 passengers and crew on board the JAL Airbus evacuate safely. 5 of the 6 Coast Guard members are killed. Yeah, so crashed on the that would be the airport, I'm guessing the runway. I think that, was it not today or yesterday? We had a plane crash. We had quite a few this year. I think that it's clearly going to get a mention as well. Yeah, so killed all the people in the Coast Guard plane. Darts, January the 3rd, Jeffrey Epstein court documents listing his associates made public from 2015 defamation trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. And that's, again, how long's that been rolling on for as well? This whole Epstein scenario, and it to the point where it's bloody annoying, and it's a bit like, oh, fucking hell, not this again. Because it's so grim as well. Do you know when you kind of get down to the meat of it, if you pardon the pun? When you get down to that, it's like, well, it's not good, man. It's not good. And of course, now we've got this whole Diddy situation and stuff coming out about Hollywood, the music industry. Stuff that a lot of people have mentioned in decades ago, and they would have been dismissed and laughed at and booed and shunned, and oh, he's a conspiracy theorist, he thinks Hollywood's this, that and the next thing, but it's all a big conspiracy. I mean, there's bound to be misinformation and disinformation out there and stuff that won't be true. But honest to God, man, Hollywood, holy moly. Put it this way, you would not want to be involved with Hollywood, man, or the music industry. It would appear to be controlled by the worst kind of people. And the saddest thing for me, from everything that I've ever seen about it, is that the biggest victim there would appear to be children. And it's like, that should be the last fucking victim of anything. It should never be they should never be a victim, but when you start looking into Hollywood more and more, it can be, I mean, I can see why a lot of people, they think, nah, I can't look into it and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, fuck, I totally understand. But if you're wanting to truly investigate a situation, you can't really be blinded by emotion. You can't. So you can't be blinded by anger or hate, love, maybe as well. Any emotion, I guess, in particular anger. So you've got to try and be, I guess, on an even kind of keel, to a degree. Who else did I see? Rebecca's here as well. Good to see you, Rebecca. Budgie Burger in the hood, I hope you're doing well. Oh, Letitia as well, fantastic. Great to see you. Ardy's here, Jerry's here. Tank in the hood, fantastic. Tank, I hope you're doing well. Toffee's still here. Paul's here. Paul's cruising for a time out. Who else did I see? Maybe in the after New Year, we'll try and do an open panel and see how many arguments we can get. It's just an open panel to anybody. It's probably not been done for about 3 years, to be honest. So it might be worth it, right? Yeah, who knows? When I've got time, I might put the link up. And you know what, Paul? You know you've got to be the first one. You've got to be the first one. You can't be saying that and then and not showing up, right? So, yep, we'll hold you to it. Hoax is here as well. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a good Christmas and going into 2025, right? Yeah, another year edging closer to I don't know wherever you want to go, right? I kind of take it year by year, a year at a time. I mean, in in a daily sense, a day at a time, but in a kind of because you've got to kind of plan ahead as well to a degree. So I kind of look at it as a year. I like to reflect, look forward, plan ahead as best as I can. And then kind of do get by day and be grateful for each day that I get and keep going, keep fighting, right? That's what you do, man. You keep going, you keep fighting. If you get knocked down, you get back up again. And I'd imagine there's probably a song in that. So what one did I get to there before Paul distracted me? Put him in a timeout. Get him in a timeout. We're only on January the 3rd. So, yeah, another thing that kind of got mentioned quite a lot in terms of, it's a record-breaking temperature. Oh, climate change. Another topic that's been peddled endlessly, shamelessly, to the point where oh man, yeah, it gets on me. It gets on me, especially when they talk about heat waves, and I think, honestly, I live in Scotland. There's people here who would become serial killers to get a heat wave in Scotland. I kid you not, man. They would do anything. They would do anything just for that. Please, one mega heat wave in Scotland, right? Just please give us it. So, yeah, we tend to not like the heat wave stuff being talked about. The sun, yeah, you know what the sun is, right? I think I can remember the sun. Yeah, it comes out in Scotland July 14, 2:30 to 3:30. That's when you that's when you see the sun in Scotland, right? So lowest January temperature minus 43.6 degree Celsius, minus 46.5 Fahrenheit. Is that what it would be? Is that the only difference? I thought it was more than that. Recorded in Sweden for 25 years. So that would be quite cold, that, right? It's hey, it feels that cold here sometimes. Minus 43, man. It's kind of hard to imagine. I mean, we've had it here, I think, minus 10. Definitely minus 8, minus 9. And I'm pretty sure minus 10 feels like fucking minus 100. Do you know how it says minus what it is, then feels like? And it's like, well, what one is it then? How did they gauge what it feels like? I don't understand that. Minus 6, but feels like minus 10. Well, which one is it then? What is feels like as a gauge when it's meant to be minus 6, right? So yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine, but I do know. I remember when I went to Norway, and I think it was like minus 15, but it didn't feel that cold. I thought, well, it doesn't feel that cold though. So it's a different kind of coldness to, I think, in the UK with the freezing cold wind and just the air in the UK, everything about it's cold, man. It's a cold-blooded entity. Of course, the people maybe not, but the nation. So yeah, I don't know. When you've got the wind, definitely the chill factor, and we get that a lot in Scotland. Oh man, never out of the wind, never out of the rain. But what can you do, right? What can you do? Yeah, so quite chilly. Sweden, that got reported. Explosions in 2 explosions kill at least 95 people, and in a commemorative ceremony marking assassination of Qasim Somalian Soleimani. We'll go with that, in Kerman, Iran. So it was kind of kicking off in Iran early doors, right? January 3rd. I mean, January seems to be quite hectic. And I did say a couple of weeks ago, look, before the year's out, the other stuff will happen, and they'll kind of rush it all in before the year is out. And I think, yeah, I think we have seen that. Events have took place, and not that we predicted any particular event to a T, should I say, but going by what we've seen before, we did say, look, they kind of rush stuff in at the end. I'm unsure as to why they do it, but it's like they squeeze it all in that short period in December, or the build up to December, and in the finish of the year. And then we get into January, and it's like you try and breathe again, and then and go again, right? And go again. January the 5th, an Alaskan Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 makes emergency landing in Portland after fuselage section blows out midair, with US regulator then grounding hundreds of planes. And yeah, that's been quite a big topic as well. All these planes that I don't know, seem to be falling to bits, right? Which is kind of not what you want to hear. The stories seem to be constant, and of course, yeah, you could say, well, they don't want people traveling, so there'll be lots of reasons for it. Let's face it, but it does it. I always think of the movie. What's it called again? Oh, with Jim Carrey. Oh man, what's it called? When he's like he's living in a movie. What's it called again? I completely forgot the name of it. Oh man, what? Surely I'll remember it, right? The Truman Show. There you go. Thanks, Darryl. The Truman Show. It completely slipped my mind. So yeah, that's the film. I don't know. I don't even know what I was going to say about it now. But yeah, the Truman Show fits the bill. We're definitely in that. Have we got Wi-Fi issues again? I think we're okay. It's only lagging. We're all right. So yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. You know, in the Truman Show, there's a poster, and it's got an aeroplane getting struck by lightning, and it says, "This could happen to you." And he's looking at it like, oh, I better not go on holiday, right? Yeah. An incredible film, The Truman Show. Unbelievably, I've got one of the original posters of The Truman Show. Would you believe that? So, yeah, it always makes me think of that. Because anytime there was an issue with an aeroplane, it would be plastered right across the news everywhere. social media, you name it. And it would be like, make sure people know. And look, it's not a good idea to be traveling. And I think they did say traveling by airplane was one of the safest way of travel. So is it still that way? Probably. I think by road, by vehicle is the number one in terms of danger. So I don't know, but we've certainly had a lot of incidents with the aeroplanes. Yeah, it's a great film, The Truman Show. Highly recommended, right? I'd imagine everybody here's seen it at least twice, surely. Surely. I've seen it that many times I forgot the name. Who did I notice in the hood? Paul from Newcastle, or Davina as well. Good to see you, Davina. I hope you're doing well. Joy as well. Good to see you, Joy. Beautiful name. Tank, Davina, Hoax. So we're caught up. I'll try not miss anybody. Hopefully you got some presents a couple of days ago. How many days ago now? See, between Christmas time and like New Year's Eve and I honestly don't know what date it is or day. It just it completely goes, and I think, wait, what fucking day is it again? What date is it? So up until the 25th, and then just my mind goes into some kind of void and disappears. Right, it goes into a void and completely disappears, and then I'm glad to just kind of reset and head into a new year, and hopefully hopefully a good one. Hey, we can live in hope, right? Look at that, January the 5th, Nigerian film called A Tribe Called Judah, created by Funky Ankadeli, Sensam's real name, becomes the first Nollywood film to earn more than 1 billion naira, so $1.1 million domestically. So like $1 million is $1 billion in Nigeria. But Nollywood, I mean, I've heard of Bollywood, but Nollywood, honestly, that was a new one to me. And honestly, I'm saying nothing, right? I'm saying nothing, not a word. But it must be quite a good film, right? Maybe I'll get John and see if we can do a movie review on this particular film. Yeah, Nollywood. There's a one for people to check out. I wonder if it's as bad as Hollywood and Bollywood. I don't know. I'd never heard of it until I noticed this, but maybe Toffee, he might be a fan of Nollywood movies. Nollywood. I mean, fucking hell. I'm saying nothing. 6th of January, Israeli army claims it has destroyed Hamas command center in northern Gaza, killing more than 8,000 militants. 8,000 militants. I find it hard to believe. Oh, we killed 8,000 of them? Fuck off. I don't buy it. Prove it. Prove it, right? Prove it, man. I don't know. I don't buy that for some reason. I mean, why should you? I guess you take their word for it. 8,000 militants. Well, how many militants have Gaza Hamas got? Probably not even that many in the past fucking 10 years. A lot of the time, the Israeli army, and they'll come out and say anything. They'll come out and say anything and just expect people to believe it. The Pope, January the 8th, the Pope says surrogate motherhood should be banned, calling it despicable. for commercializing pregnancy. I mean, imagine the Pope. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, man. The Pope. Imagine the Pope trying to tell you anything, man. Like standing on some kind of moral high ground. Get yourself tea. The Pope. Come on. Honestly. I mean, I'm not even going to get started. Imagine this guy trying to tell you anything or any way in the way of, in terms of living and how you should be. Honest to God, man. Despicable. The cheek. The irony as well, saying that. Surrogate. I can kind of see what I could see it maybe being deemed commercialized, but I think it comes more from the thought of someone who can't have a child rather than someone who wants to make money out of it. Rather than someone who wants to rent out their womb or however it takes place again. I'm unsure of the exact ins and outs, but I don't think it's something that I would be against, to be honest. Anything that involves us producing more children without it being any way artificial and unnatural, although that kind of is, I guess. I'd draw the line at that though, right? I'll draw the line at that. I could see why people might have maybe something against it, but I always feel for people they try and have kids and they can't. That kind of breaks my heart, to be honest, for them. I've seen it, so I mean, I don't think anybody would have anything against it. But I mean, I know of people who they've done it, but in a kind of natural way. The people actually, there was no test tube or needle. They had got certain. They had done it a certain way, let's say, without being too graphic. So there's ways for couples who if they can't, then why not? Why should they not find a way of doing it? I think I would definitely be pro more creation. More creation, the more the better, especially for us. We need to keep going. And I mean, it even crossed my mind in the past, and my wife kind of was like, no, shot it down in an instant. But we've got the 3 children, and we don't plan on having any more. And I think, yeah, that's fair to be honest, for good reason as well. But I did kind of think, well, I might donate my my secret sauce. I might donate my secret sauce to the clinic, and do you know, to try and help people who maybe can't. But my wife shot it down. My wife shot it down and was like, "Nah, that's not happening." So it's probably not going to happen. But hey, the more the merrier, right? You've got to, because we've talked about it in the past. A lot of young, not children, but young adults, and I've seen it at college. They just don't want to reproduce. They did. It's not gonna sound great. That, how did you know that? But I spoke about an incident before where I overheard an individual talk about one of the students. There were two of them were speaking, and basically she said, "Oh, she was asked about children." And one of them was talking about her kids, and she was a bit older than me. And then she asked, "Oh, what about you? Are you going to have any, or have you got any?" And she said, "No, I wouldn't. I don't think I would bring children into the world that we're in today." And she was on about, with the climate change and stuff like that. And I thought, oh no, man, is that genuinely what it's came to now? I mean, we're doomed, right? I shouldn't laugh, but it's quite daunting that to hear that, man. Kind of sad, right? So I think these people, mainly due to the media, and of course the education establishments, due to these particular entities, people have been trained, conditioned to think a certain way. And you're basically now at a point where they think humans destroy the world, humans are killing the world, we need to stop living, we need to stop doing things that are good, basically. And we need to achieve the golden carrot, the holy grail, which is net zero. But it is the golden carrot. It's never going to happen. It's a target that can't be achieved. The whole thing's basically just like a setup, man. A complete setup. So yeah, quite funny coming from the Pope. Again, weather-wise, January 9, 2023 confirmed as the world's warmest year on record. 1.48 Celsius warmer than the long-term average, driven by climate change and El Nino. So 2023, and then are they not saying that 2024 now is going to be the warmest on record? That's another one that they continue to pull out these. Oh, it's a record. Oh, it's climate change done it. And there's never any other even potential explanation offered up. Each and every time, without fail, any of these records, so-called records that are broken, climate change done it. Climate change, influenced by climate change, guaranteed. Every time. Which is quite insane. Honestly, there's none that even offer up an alternative to it. Because I remember they came out a couple of years ago and said, "Oh, there's no argument against man-made climate change influencing the current weather event, global weather events. No argument." January 11, huge ancient city discovered in the Amazon. Eastern Ecuador, seemingly supporting 10,000 people with sophisticated roads and canals. Yeah. 10,000 people. Ancient city. Only discovered, this year? And, yeah. I mean, did someone know? Someone was bound to have known about it, right? Surely, you'd imagine. Surely it couldn't have just fucking popped out of nowhere. It was never known about to nobody. That's one I kind of find it hard to believe. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is okay. Let me see. I think we're all right. There we go. We're good to go. So yeah, I always find them interesting. an ancient city, sophisticated roads and canals, so probably smarter. Smarter than most most of civilization today. Although I guess you could say, well, they couldn't be that smart because they're not here today, are they? Or maybe they are. They would be a fair age, I'd imagine. Ulick might know them. January 11 again. More than 300 people have died in flooding caused by the highest levels of River Congo in 60 years. And I can guarantee you, any money, if you went and looked up that event, you'd find an article saying that climate change, it was caused by climate change. Honestly, man, they attach it to anything they can. Oh, it rained in climate change in Scotland. It was a high wind in the North Sea. Oh, climate change, done it. Driving to work. Eating sausages and eggs and bacon for your breakfast. Eating red meat. Shocking. Look at what you've done. It rained in Glasgow. It rained, right? But of course they're adapting. They're playing a game of weather warfare, mainly against us. So they're finding ways to manipulate the atmosphere and the I guess our reality. And for decades they've continued to improve, I think, their technique. And I think that's clearer now to see that than it's ever been before, to be honest. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I can guarantee it would be put down to climate change. January 12th, wokery, safe word, forever chemical, and swear box added to the Oxford Dictionary. You know it's real when they've added it to the Oxford Dictionary, right? Yeah, that confirms it. It's cemented in society. Does anybody know what any of them mean? Wokery? I mean, I could probably take a guess at what it means. Bullshit might be what it means. Safe word, I think bullshit as well. Forever chemicals, fuck, bullshit as well, probably. Swear box, well, yeah, I guess a swear box would be if you swear, then you've got. Maybe I should get one. If you do a swear word, then you've got to put a pound or a I guess a dollar, or I don't know, if you're in Nollywood, one of their coins into a swear box, and at the end, yeah, I'd be a millionaire by the end of the year. Maybe I should get one. Maybe that's a good idea, a good business plan, right, for the future. It wouldn't be a box I would need, it would be a skip, let's face it. So that one, yeah, where did I get to there? Yeah, well, we might come back to that. Arctic blast, January 13th. Large parts of the US, 44 million people under winter weather advisory. Montana registered 60 degrees below zero. Yikes. So more of that to come in January, right? Yeah, I kind of get the image of, remember the film Geostorm, when they're all frozen? And I shouldn't laugh, but in Geostorm, when they're all frozen on the spot, just, and I think the guy gets his arm falls off and smashes into bits. So, yeah, maybe not that extreme, but these events would appear to be on the increase. And of course, the reason we get told is climate change. When there's never any other excuse. I think my throat might hold up. But we'll keep going. We're doing good time. We're doing good time, right? No pressure. Taiwan Democratic Progressive Party is re-elected for the third time, led by Vice President Li Ji-ting. Amid Chinese warnings, their election would increase conflict with China. Well, that was in January 13. Unlucky for some. And I don't think their conflict increased. So, a lot of it's smoke and mirrors and fucking hot air. But there always would appear to be this ongoing brewing element to China, Taiwan, and the whole kind of kicking off and escalation of what could develop into what they would call probably a global conflict. I mean, what's the big deal about Taiwan anyway? What is the big deal? And who would America or Britain be, or anybody else be, to tell anybody else what to do? Let's face it, man. I mean, the amount of nations that Britain and America and Europe, they've invaded and corrupted, man. And plundered. And then they've got the brass neck to be schooling anybody else. It's like, nah, hey, that's we do that. We do that, right? It's like the bully trying to muscle in on the bully. And it's like, nah, that's our territory. But I always find it really, I don't know if ironic's the right word, but I always think, yeah, you do know your own past, right? And when they come out and try and condemn, try and condemn folk, and it's like, well, maybe condemn your fucking self. How about that? Maybe look in the mirror, right? These political entities of Britain and America. But of course, we're all being played. We all get played off each other by these puppets constantly. So where did I get to there? Safe word, the Arctic blast, Taiwan. Yeah, I don't know what the big deal is about Taiwan. The most of people in Scotland and probably the UK and America, they couldn't point Taiwan on the map. I wonder if there would, if there's ever a escalation, are we going to see people in Scotland with the Taiwan flag in their garden? Oh, fucking hell. And I mean, it sounds insane, right? But there's people who've got the Ukraine flag. And it's like they're not even connected to Ukraine. They've got the Palestine flag. And I mean, hey, I don't want to see anybody innocent getting hurt, of course, man. But I also try and think about what needs to be prioritized in society, in the world that I'm in Scotland. And I can remember one day walking about and I seen more Ukraine flags and Palestine flags than I did Scotland flags. In fact, I don't even think I seen any Scotland flags. And it's like, we are in Scotland, right? Can I thought I was in, woke up in Ukraine. And of course, it's completely insane to think that on top of that, we somehow have to take the people from Ukraine over here. We've to somehow share this burden, so-called burden of war between Ukraine and Russia. We've to fucking foot the bill and send millions and take people in and continue to fund this whole theatre of war, even though there's a continuation of threat regarding escalation with Russia, but the political entities somehow they go, we're going to do it anyway. We're going to do it anyway. We're going to do it anyway. And it's at that points I begin to think, well, who are you to fucking tell anybody? Similar to the Pope trying to tell anybody what to do. And again, where's the prioritizing what really matters in our individual worlds that we're in? Because, hey, maybe some people want a one world order and all the countries connected and no religion. I mean, I don't think I've ever met any of these particular people yet, but maybe there are people out there who somehow want that. But I can tell you right now, the majority of people here don't. We want to build on what we've got as a nation, celebrate what we've got, remember our tradition, our roots, our morals, our ancestors, protect what we've got. And somehow, even that would be deemed, I don't know, too out there and almost fascistic. Is that the right word? Or am I just making that up? Fucking making up words now. Get them off. Treated in like a fascist sense. Because, of course, they're building a mindset where people they will begin to want this whole one world entity. But for me personally, I think it's only right for individual nations to be sovereign and to be protected and to be promoted, their traditions to be promoted, their values to be promoted. Of course, the good ones. Only the good ones. Only the ones that will benefit humanity. But even that's all that would be frowned upon by the people who've had their minds turned to giving up on old traditions, old values. And whether that tide can be turned, I genuinely do not know, man. Honest to God. I do not know. It's tough because we know the control they've got. We got to see it in 2020. We know how much strings they can pull, how much power they sway. And at the kind of blink of an eye, they've got the masses in a hypnotic trance, man. A hypnotic trance. Quite incredible. How you break from that, honestly, if you've got any idea, let me know. You can kind of unplug from the system, but then you're out of it, right? What I kind of dwell on in terms of entertaining a theory or a question is, how do you corrupt the system from within? It can, well, easy is not the right word. The number one option probably is to unplug and detract from the system and maybe come off grid. What people would come off grid. What people would call, coming off grid. There is that, but then there's you're kind of out of the game. Then you're not in the game anymore. You're kind of, not that you wouldn't have any influence, but you would possibly be more of a target outside the net rather than inside the net, if you know what I mean. That might not make any sense, but I kind of need to watch what I'm saying as well, to be fair. But I think there is ways. I think you can entertain and you can read different things in regards to winning battle, if you like. There is ways to quietly work away and push against and fight against a tyrannical entity. And again, do you know what? And it's incredible the position we're in, and these entities know that a lot of people, we've got them marked. In Scotland now, you genuinely have got to watch what you say, or the next minute, all you're going to hear is, and it's the police at the door looking for you, saying, "We know what you fucking said." Honestly, man. Are people in the UK getting jailed and it's not the door? My dog's wondering if it's the door. He thinks it's the door. People getting jailed for next to nothing, basically. I mean, the one individual in the UK this year, I think it was this year, he got arrested and put to jail. I'm sure he got released, but he served, I guess, maybe a short time. And all he done was print out some stickers, and he was sticking them on, I don't know, lampposts and what have you, like a sticker. And I think the sentence originally, I think, was 2 years, which is insane, man. But when I looked into that, there was an incident in Russia, a similar incident, and it was a young lady, I think a kind of activist, journalist, and she made a poster. I think it was a poster that criticised the war in Ukraine, in Russia, so it was against it. And she got 7 years in prison. 7 years. For, I shouldn't laugh, but I was like, holy hell. 7 years, man. And I bet you she won't get out early. So January 17, UK Royal Palace announces Princess of Wales hospitalised for abdominal surgery and King Charles is receiving prostate treatment. January 17. So Kate goes into hospital, abdominal surgery. News breaks about Charles having receiving prostate treatment for what they called cancer. January 18, Netanyahu vows absolute victory. So there were a lot of nations said, look, sit down, Bibi, you've done enough, wind it in, stop bombing 900 million, billion, thousand, trillion, billion people. Stop telling us you're bombing a fucking 100,000 folk a day and wind it in, but no, not keen. Absolute victory. I mean, what would that mean? Absolute victory. I'm unsure what that is. That completely eliminating every single aspect of what you deem the enemy. Half of me thinks, look, do you know what? If they want to fight, let them fight. Sick of it, man. Let them get it out the way. Just put them in the ring and get it over with, man. Because it drags on and on and on. And again, that's a bit of a giveaway as to the true kind of reasoning behind it. It's not meant to finish. It's not meant to end in victory. Like, boom, one night, that's it. It's done. It's due. It's planned to go on and on and on. And I mean, let's face it, it's fucking dragged on since I can remember. And a lot of people, they get hooked to it. They get genuinely hooked to it, like so engrossed to such a degree where they become really emotionally attached to either one or the other. So it's perfect at dividing people. So they'll become a lot of the time, I think the majority of time, they'll become emotionally attached to the Palestine element because they're continuously seeing, oh, Gaza this and children that. And they get so emotionally drawn into it. It affects their whole life, their whole personality, and a lot of the time they don't even know, man. They don't even know. They don't even see it. They do not even see it, man. And I've met people in the past, in particular, going back to 2014, 2015, and I shit you not, in particular, an elderly couple, man. And I met them through the political party at the time. And they were that kind of hooked on the whole Palestine stuff. It was like 80% of their pension they got. They sent it to Palestine. So each week. And these people did not have a lot of money. They had next to no money, man. All they did was they went to different political events locally, and they both smoked like there was no tomorrow, like 60 cigarettes a day. So they were old, and their kind of mentality was, look, they need it, we don't need it, sort of thing. But I kind of thought you could be using that money, man, to improve your life and make your home a bit better and your life's a wee bit more comfortable, rather than sending it away each week. And I can remember when they first talked about it to me, I kind of thought, I don't really want to say anything about it. But then as time went on and I got to know them, because they had been giving me a lift, I was hitching a lift from them. I kind of said, look, you might be better just keeping that money. Because do you know my biggest worry? My first worry was the person they were giving the money to probably wasn't even giving it to Palestine. That was my biggest concern. Because, that is... There's one thing giving the money away, but then it's a kick in the fucking stones to be realising that you're getting bumped in more ways than one. You're completely scammed by some con artist who's going to just keep the money. So that was my biggest fear. And I thought, you know what? As time went on, I began to see a lot of these Israel and Palestine stuff popping up, looking for money, wanting people to send them money. Oh, my house got blown up, blah, blah, blah. Send me your money. And I thought that's probably how they got caught and roped into it. And to what end? So people have been doing that since 2014, sending all their fucking pension and savings and what have you. And to what end exactly? It's I'm sorry, but it wouldn't be me. It just would not be me. I don't think it would be right. There's other things you could donate your money to in a local community sense. And if there's not, you could create something. you could find it's not hard to find something in your community that needs to be better, and probably some form of funding that would help that or make that happen. But of course, they're driven by what they see on the media, basically the news and I mean, it's everywhere as well. There's no getting away from it a lot of the times. These certain agendas that are going on, they want you drawn into it. That's the whole point. So he said, nah, hey, total victory, right? Japan, seemingly on January 20, Japan is the 5th nation to land a spacecraft on the moon. Remember that one? Yeah, that was quite funny. Smart lander for investigating moon. Smart lander for investigating moon. I mean, even the name is quite funny. Like, so it was basically like Johnny Five, short circuit thrown onto the set of Apollo. Yeah, hey, who knows, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they did. They did land on the moon. Maybe Japan did. And Johnny Five is indeed on the moon. I very much doubt it. But again, it's another... I mean, it's quite incredible because Japan have spent quite a lot of money on this whole space program. That's another thing over 2024. A lot of kind of media bodies are coming out and saying, well, the space race is back on. And it's like, I thought they had that race. I thought it was over. Oh, it never ended. It's still going. They've relit the space race. Honestly, let me sort this. This seat's awkward, man. So it's like, right, so yeah, we're kind of heading back into what they're going to deem a space race, which of course is going to kind of coincide with the Cold War scenario, which I think they're going to be calling it the Hot War, because it's not cold, it's heating up. And yeah, I mean, hey, a lot of people have said the next big war and global kind of war, it's going to be like I don't know, Star Wars or fucking Star Trek. It's not going to be like the wars that have went by in the past. I think they've got the wheels rolling already. It's going to be more like spacey, not even space, like in the sky. Oh, my dog's wanting out. You wanting out? You're a little bugger. Right, come here. Get a dog, they said. It'll be fun, they said. So yeah, it's gonna be... I mean, hey, I could be wrong. But from what I can gather, because they're already kind of setting it all up and it's working away in the background, and they're going to have this sort of space Star Trek war scenario going on, which could be a build-up to a stage of Project Bluebeam. But I think on top of that, you're going to have a lot of dirty play going on. So infrastructure, cyber security, even down to what they call mass migration, the manipulation of migration. Because it's being fought on so many levels. It's not your average bayonet and grenade. It's like a complex war now. Almost artificial to an extent. Because what is war based on? What should a war be? Is there any rules to war? It's only I guess it's an operation that's evolved over the many years into what it's going to be next. Because it will be. And it likely already is. How it's going to be fought is another kind of yeah, it's a thought. I don't know, but maybe we'll find out. Maybe I won't have to kind of imagine it, right? Who else did I see? Oh, Danny's in the hood. My brother Danny, fantastic. I hope you're doing well, Danny. Looking forward. Yeah, I'll catch you later today. Not today. We're not into New Year's Eve yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. But I will, yeah, look forward to seeing you. And yeah, we'll get a good catch up. Who else did I see? Horace in the hood. Is it Tonette? Is Tonette the right pronunciation? Probably not. Oh, a dog named Boo as well. I apologise if it's the wrong the wrong pronunciation. I'm terrible. I am bad at it. Hey, I do what I can. I can only work with the tools I've got, right? Get 'em off! So I hope you're doing well, Tonette, and welcome. And a dog named Boo, always a pleasure. On a plane as well, welcome. I hope you're doing good. Back again, good to see you. Paka's in the hood. Maka Paka, good to see you. Wendy B, fantastic. Good to see you, Wendy. Hope you're doing well. Anybody that I missed quickly? Oh, Scotty, there you go. Good to see you, Scotty. Sheila, Justine, Toffee, on a plane. I think we're kind of caught up. Oh, Chilster, there you go. In the hood. I should have seen you. His name's being shouted. He's got one of them names that shout at you. Same with Joy. It's in caps, so you definitely hear it. Great to see you, and I hope you are both doing well. So yeah, I think we got caught up. We'll try and stream through it. Rebecca as well. I'm unsure if I said hello, but good evening. I hope you're doing good. So I'll try and get through. There was a lot in January, and even stuff that I had to take out, because it was like, nah, we would be there going into 2025, still there. So we had the Japan landing, and it was I don't know. They put out a stupid animation cartoon, and then the photos they put out, I think they claimed it was real. But I mean, come on, it was fake, right? It was totally fake, man. It was so fake. I guess Elon Musk would say, well, you know it's real because it looks so fake. Remember Musk said that? I think it was in regards to the Tesla that went into space. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, man. I remember that. You remember? Do you know what was funny as well? And I need to check up on this because about a year later, an article came out and it said, "Oh, the Tesla." It's not, because I was like, "Oh, I wonder if it's gonna if what they're gonna say is that it's continuing to fly out into space, just drifting off into the sunset, or well, I guess just the sun." And then what they said was, they said, it's going to come back. They said, it's going to come back. So I don't know. Maybe in 2025, you're going to see the Tesla return, the Starman. You'll just hear it coming in, the Starman blasting on the fucking stereo. The dude spent a couple of years in space, And I mean, yeah, it's comical, to be honest, if they do that. And I mean, why? What I don't understand. I mean, that whole Tesla thing. What the hell was that even about? What was the point in that? Was it just simply, oh, we're going to send a car into space because it'll be funny? I mean, what was the fucking point? Honestly, what was it? It was such a stupid thing. It was so stupid, man. It was so childish, and a bit like I don't know, man, a gauge of where society is. Oh, we're put a Tesla into space. Honestly, geese peace. And you know, it's quite comical, the technology they've got. The so-called things they can do, man. Today, in 2020, in these years that we're in. But yet they couldn't put a camera on this car that you could continue to get signal and video from as it continued throughout the, I don't know, the galaxy. It had to shut off after a certain period. Like, no, that's it, it's finished, the show's over, right? I mean, it was just a big con. The whole thing, man. Honestly, when it comes to space and entities like NASA and SpaceX, man, they're like the biggest con artists going. The amount of money that NASA have leached from the American. I'm not even American, and it pisses me off, man. The Americans should be. Do you know what's funny as well? Just finally on that, there's a. I think it was from like 1970. 273, there's an interview with Neil Armstrong, and he's talking about how NASA will operate as a business and it'll kind of like make profit. Wait, what? A profit? As it would go on to make profit as a business rather than taking money from the American. Hey, should I tell Neil or will you? I mean, they must be turning in their grave at the amount of money. Honestly, see if you look it up, if you put into Google, I'm sure it's like, it's an insane amount of money now. And there's no end to it. It's like an endless pot of gold they've got. Quite incredible. But of course, if the space program we're kind of offered up is not what it appears to be, what's really going on? Where's the money really going? What is it really all about? On one hand, they'll claim they're designing technology for the moon, but is it really for the moon? Probably not. Going by their history, it's not for the moon, it's for, you guessed it, it's for you. It's for us, right? It's for the moon. Tell them it's for the moon. They'll buy it. They'll buy it. So they landed on the moon. Large weekend protest, 20th again in Germany, against far-right alternative for Germany after group's master plan for mass deportation of migrants revealed. The master plan. Probably not a good name for it, to be honest. But who am I, right? 21st, deep freeze. Nearly two weeks of frigid winter storms across the US claim lives of at least 70 people, with Oregon, Tennessee, Kentucky declaring state of emergencies. 21st. So more of that to come. Brain reading device, January 29th, Elon Musk tweets or X's his company Neuralink has implanted a brain reading device into a person for the first time. Yeah, obviously it's the first time they've done it. It's not the first time a brain chip has been implanted to a human being. I remember when I looked into this a couple of years ago, I thought, fucking hell, the first brain chip was in like 2000 or 2001 or even like, I'm sure it was 2000, man. Because I thought, holy moly, the technology's not actually... because I kind of had an impression it was all a new thing and had never been done before. Then I looked at it and I thought, wait a minute, it's kind of been done before. But interesting that it's developing these arms and legs currently, if you pardon the pun. What a creature this guy is, right? Entrepreneur, actor, it should say. I'm surprised he's not starred in any Hollywood films. Maybe he's not wanting that tagline of actor next to his name, because it might be too much of a giveaway, right? I wonder if Bill Gates has been in any films, because he could be doing with that tagline as well next to his name. So yeah, the brain chip thing, man, that gives me the creeps, that one. It does not sit well with me, honestly. And I know there is argument, we've talked about it before, if someone was broke their spine or they broke their neck and or back and somehow they could get a brain chip and they could walk again. Would I be against that? Probably not. I would struggle to be against that, but the issue here is not that. The issue is if they mainstream it like an everyday item, and it was being designed as an everyday item. So what would that tell you? If they were designing it to be like like an everyday item, like a vape or some small electronic item, because they had to change a lot of designs to streamline it. So what does that tell you? They're not planning on just making a couple of hundred here and there. They are going to be firing it out like the next best gadget, like the latest iPhone, man. And people will want it because they sell it on, you can become like a computer, basically. And of course, it all ties in with this conditioning of becoming a superhero and having the intelligence of a, I don't know, Rayman or some kind of Superman. And that idea will sell, man. You can imagine it selling, right? You can imagine all these, like, I don't know, a perfect kind of area niche would be the whole comic world, gaming world scenario, comic book gaming world. I could guarantee you a lot of them would be the first people in line to get a brain chip and deem themselves somehow superhuman. I'd imagine they would class them. I mean, they wouldn't be superhuman to me. They wouldn't be superhuman to me. They would be less of a fucking human. So it's one that kind of creeps me out because I could see it. I can see a lot of people falling for it, unfortunately. Yeah, Sweden automaker, February now, 6. Polestar introduces its Polestar 4, first mass market car with no rear even window. an electric SUV with rear-mounted camera instead. So, no back window. I mean, what's the fucking point in that? What is the point in that? Replacing a window with a camera. Honestly. I mean, that is so insane. In my eyes, that is just completely and utterly insane. Honestly. I mean, are these the cars that are being developed because in years to come you're going to be living in some war-torn utopia where, well, you can't risk having a window because someone's going to jump through it and try and carjack you, right? I mean, is that where we're heading into with that kind of vehicles? I know I think Cape Town and stuff like that, they've got carjacking issues that they kind of look to combat. So yeah, I can maybe see that, but it's just honestly, I remember reading about this before, and I thought, what's the point in that, man? Honestly, are we so lazy now? We can't just turn your head or look in your mirror. I mean, you've got to look on the camera anyway, right? It's insane. Another thing that freaks me out is these driverless cars. Electronic driverless vehicles. It's like, nah, don't get me started. Netanyahu again, still going, still beating the drum about a total victory. Probably still saying that as we speak. February 14, I think that could be a certain day. Anyone remember that day of? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I get reminded of that day. Technology and AI company Nvidia's market capitalization reaches 1.83 trillion, overtaking Alphabet and Amazon. Quite incredible that, when you think about how, I mean, AI, if you like, it's kind of always been there, but the acceleration of it in kind of recent history to this point now where it's kind of overtaken the game. Yeah, it's quite a thought. I mean, I don't fear it because I don't think it's as good as they claim. I genuinely think it's got a long way before it outsmarts a human. All right, it might beat a human at a game of chess, but there's a lot of stuff I just feel, nah, it's not. But hey, maybe we're not seeing the full aspect, the full capability of what they're calling AI, because we're only kind of being introduced. It's being drip fed to the world. Where it's gonna go, I genuinely don't know, man. I genuinely do not know. It's one that I tend not to think about. We'll cross that bridge when we get there because it's not going to go away, I'm afraid. Germany becomes the world's third largest economy after Japan slips into recession, February 15. Again, Greece is the first Christian Orthodox country to legalise same-sex marriage and adoption. Yeah. Who'd have thought it? Gay people in Greece? Surely not, right? Surely not. Funeral of Alexei Navalny, March 1st. So it was basically the opposition leader of Putin. Got oh, my dog's wanting in now. Honestly. Right, come on. It's alright, I can blame him for taking too long now. I can use you as an excuse, Beans. All good in the hood. So yeah, he died while prisoner. So he was murdered in prison as a political prisoner. Seemingly. That's what we're told anyway. Would Putin do that? Hey, probably. Let's face it. Let's face it. These political entities they don't like anybody muscling in on their scam, if you like. So that was it's not unheard of for these Russian political people to be unalived. Quite common. I think there was accusations of spying as well. Hey, was he being tapped up by the CIA, MI5? Probably. I would almost guarantee it. If Putin or Russia got sniff of that, it would be game over. It would be game over, man. They tend not to, from what I can see. I mean, they all do it. All these secret services do it, but the Russians, they don't fuck about, man. They do not fuck about. March 7, Sweden officially joins NATO as the alliance's 32nd member, abandoning its 200-year policy of neutrality. So it was neutral for 200 years, Sweden. Another country that's basically been destroyed. But it was neutral. I mean, why do that? 200-year tradition of being neutral and not getting involved, being smart, being wise, gone, finished. In NATO, 32. Who's going to be the 33rd nation to join NATO? Is it going to be Ukraine? Is that then going to be what they deem the, quote, escalation point? And it would be the 33rd nation to join, right? Coincidence? I think not. I think not, man. I mean, who else could it be? I can only see it being Ukraine. If Ukraine join NATO, basically we are contracted to then protect Ukraine. But let's face it, it would appear to be the case anyway. Quite incredible. Yeah, 32nd. So who's going to be the 33rd? Again, March 7th, Joe Biden gives a fiery State of the Union speech to Congress. Yeah, sure he does. Addressing the question of his age, of his age head on. Fiery speech, Joe Biden? Surely not. Yeah, people were. He's a bit old, is he not? A bit old? That would be being polite. March 8th, a report by the Pentagon into UFOs. A report by the Pentagon into UFOs since 1945 finds no evidence of aliens or extraterrestrial intelligence. Right. I mean, how is that news again? A report from 1945 finds no evidence of anything, but we'll put that out there anyway. It's like, well, why could you not tell us that? Was it disclosed even though there was nothing to see? March 11, Kate edits photos. Remember this one quite well. Princess of Wales apologises for confusion caused by releasing an edited family photo after news agencies issue a kill notice over digital manipulation. Yeah, it was interesting when they came out talking about the kill notice. It was like, kill notice. for Kate. Oh, but the photo. And I mean, to say it was edited, that's a bit of an understatement, that, man. It was highly fucking photoshopped. It wasn't simply edited like you put up the brightness and the contrast. It was photoshopped, man. And shoddily. I mean, it was such a botched job. I mean, it had to be deliberate. It had to be deliberate. It was so botched, man. Honestly, a kid could have done a better job. My 9-year-old kid could have done a better job. It was so botched. There's no way they put that out there without knowing people were going to say, wait a fucking minute. That's not, look at that. That can't be right. That is not a normal photo. That is not a natural photograph, man. And of course, people picked up on it instantly. And it kind of became this problem, reaction, solution. And the royal family came out and said, oh yeah, we edit photos. First of all, Kate came out and said, yeah, sorry, I edited it. And then about a week or so later, or a month or so, the royal family came out and said, oh, we edit pictures as well. We fake them, basically. So you can understand why there is a lot of confusion surrounding these actors, if you like. Speaking of actors, March 17, after suppressing and murdering opponents. Also, Putin murdered him, and they know that for sure. I mean, of course, I wouldn't rule it out, but to be stating that is a bit like, right, okay, so yeah, Putin the murderer. So he claims, I mean, I'm not a fan, don't get me wrong, but where's the evidence? But look at that for a percentage. 87.8% of the vote. Oh, man. The longest serving leader in over 200 years. 87%, man. I mean, that's incredible, right? And honestly, don't tell me elections are not fixed. Come on. If that doesn't tell you it's rigged, I'm surprised it's not 99.9%. It's like, come on, man. Honestly. Quite incredible the amount of time this guy spent at the top in Russia. And a lot of people give Putin a bye that he's not tied in with the powers that be. I would disagree, but hey, each to their own, right? I would certainly disagree. Brain chip patient plays chess. And remember when that happened? How ironic was it? It was a game of chess. They were out with the black and white chessboard on the computer. And it was all there for all to see. And it was portrayed like, oh, it's working now. Hooray! 3 cheers for Elon, the entity. Because, yeah, I don't know if he's human, to be fair. I doubt it, to be honest. Kate's cancer diagnosis. Huh? So she went in for an operation, then a couple of months later, cancer diagnosis. And of course, the video came out. And that's when it all kind of started rolling with the fake photo and going into hospital. The ball was already rolling in terms of, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? And there was stuff going on, no two ways about it. And for about 6 months, Kate was gone, man. Pretty much off the planet. And they were faking photos. One of the videos, there was a lady who never even looked like Kate. So there was a lot of stuff going on. and certain individuals felt they seen enough and felt they had maybe concluded enough to come out and say, well, she died, she's dead. And I thought, right, we'll take that, we'll look into it. And I could not for 100% certainty say that she was. But I also couldn't say she wasn't. I was more, for a long time, leaning towards she's not here. And I still wouldn't rule that out, believe it or not. It's a topic that we likely will get back into. So that was in March 22nd. March 25th, not even a week later, Diddy's home got searched. I think a lot of us probably remember that. Was it in March, man? It feels like it wasn't. It was a bit later. Yeah, it must have been, right? It must have been. Aid workers killed April 1st. What happens on April 1st? Yeah, remember this one? 7 aid workers from World Central Kitchen are killed in an Israeli attack in Gaza, prompting condemnation and an apology from Bibi. Oh, we're sorry. We thought they were terrorists. That's what they said, remember? I think they dropped a bomb on a 4x4. And that was a weird one as well, come to think of it. A lot of strange stuff going on. And they'll just put it down to the guise of, oh, well, it's war, casualties of war. But, yeah, what was the real reasoning behind it? Similar to when parts of Ukraine was getting bombed. And then, and then they were coming out and saying, oh it was laboratories. It was laboratories, and it's like, well, that's kind of fitting that, to be honest. We'll just get rid of them laboratories. We don't need them anymore, right? But it's like a casualty of the war that's going on. Nothing to do with deleting evidence, right? Disposing of evidence. Just a coincidence. So yeah, I remember that incident quite well. It stands out. I think there was more to it. April 15, Trump goes on trial. Remember that. April 16, record rainfall in Dubai. Remember that one? A lot of people tying it in with the cloud seeding situation. Again, 16, volcanic eruption. Indonesia. I can remember that. First since 2002. May the 11th, rare strong solar storm reaches Earth. Was that the one when we had the aurora? I think it might have been. At the bottom there, May 12th, flash flood kills at least 300 people, Afghanistan. Destroys nearly 2,000 homes. 2,000 homes? How does that happen, man? I guess if it's like I don't know. I mean, what would you even class as a home in Afghanistan without sounding too cheeky? I mean, is it, what do you call them? Shacks? I'm unsure, but obviously not very strong in terms of how they're built. 2,000 homes, because that kind of makes you think, bloody hell, it must have been like a gigantic tsunami to wipe out all these homes. But I don't know what would pass the mark as being a home. But again, I can guarantee you, they would be putting that down to, well, climate change done it. And above that, again, they're talking about, remember the Eurovision? Is anybody insane enough to watch that? Absolute farce, man. Honestly. But for the first time, a non-binary winner from Switzerland, Nemo was their name. Never to be heard of or seen again. The track, The Code. And it was like, right, okay, whatever, man. UK early election. So Roland the Rat, Richie Sunak, called an election like it was his decision. He just decided, right? Are we going to call a early general election? I've decided because I'm the boss. No one else told me to say it. I remember he was out in the rain and oh man, oh Jesus, that was quite comical. A sobering picture if you've ever seen one. He was like a drowned rat out in the rain saying there's gonna be an election. And I mean, hey, we're in probably 10 times worse a position now than we were then. Julian Assange, June 24, pleading guilty to criminal charges, but allowed to go free after 5 years in a UK prison. I seem to just remember Assange being in the Ecuadorian embassy. I can't remember hearing much about him when he was in the UK prison. Or has he not long been put there? I'm unsure. But the whole Assange thing is a bit, I don't know, man. It doesn't sit well with me. It does not sit well. But a lot of people see Julian Assange as, I don't know, some kind of hero maybe. But struggling to see it myself, to be honest. June 25th, China. They've got their samples back from the moon. Because they also, remember they put a instrument on the moon. The far side of the moon. Okay, sure. So they got the samples back. And of course, it'll be petrified wood. That's what it will be. That's what the Apollo mission got. That's what they'll get even. Again, it's another scam. I don't know what the end game is with that. I really don't. I really don't. If it, I can see they can be draining money, so they drain funds, and they clearly spend it on things that we don't see, and we get fed the bullshit narrative. But the question that is always unanswered is what do they... I mean, people might say, well, it's black projects and hidden technology. Probably, yeah. But it's when you're dealing with the people who pull the strings at the very top, I kind of feel that money wouldn't mean anything to them. It would not mean anything to them. But I could be wrong. Have we got... Let me just double check this. I think we're alright. If we lose signal, the audio will dip out. And then hopefully, if you give it a minute, we'll be back, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we're going to see more in the way of the moon. NASA, of course, delayed again. But they're not going to let that go, man. They will not let it go. And they continue to take more money and more money and more money. Is it just simply a a money laundering scheme, but with added elements to deceive. Because we know how they work. There's never one single reason to what they do. So yeah, they're stealing money, they're laundering money, but what else are they doing? Brainwashing people, children even, man. Intertwining into the education of kids. Pretty much making them believe whatever they think up, whatever they put out. The teachers will simply repeat, and that's what happens. It gets repeated across the board. The more it gets repeated, the more it gets believed. The more people accept it as being true or reality. But is it, is the question. How much can you truly believe when it comes to, let's call it education? I struggle to even call it that. First debate between Biden and Trump, June 27, and Biden appears to stumble with his words. I'm not believing that. Joe Biden? Remember that? That was quite grim. I watched a wee bit. I could only watch a wee bit. But I kind of thought, how is that a debate? How is that a debate, man? Honestly, Biden was like fumbling about in the dark and Trump was just not even saying anything. You could have put a dog on the podium next to them and the dog would have won the debate. Honest to God, man. Two old fucking has-beens. July 5th, Keir Starmer succeeds Rishi Sunak. And I mean, yeah, the UK pretty much went from the frying pan into the fire. And again, these two absolute sellout entities, man. Honestly. If it was up to me, I'd be putting them in prison. They would be in jail, man, right now. Especially Starmer, but Sunak as well. Most definitely. July 7, heat wave across Western American states breaks temperature records. Excuse me. Including Las Vegas, which reaches all-time record of 120 degrees. I think Fahrenheit it would be. But yeah, I do recall reading about that heat waves across America. I wonder what caused it. July 8th, Hurricane Beryl makes landfall in Texas as a Category 1 storm, knocking out power to nearly 3 million customers. Hurricane Beryl? I don't think I can remember that. July 8th, July 13th. This could be one of them, or do you remember where you were? Well, it almost was, right? Or was it? Again, another complete episode in this continuing soapland reality that we live in. So July 13, former US President, now President-elect, Donald Trump survives an assassination attempt at an outdoor campaign rally in rural Butler, Pennsylvania. Gunman Thomas Matthew Crooks fires 6 to 8 shots, killing one spectator, critically wounding 2, and hits Trump in the ear with a bullet before being killed by a Secret Service sniper. Hits Trump in the ear. Is that how it's going down in history, that he got hit in the ear? Is that how it's genuinely going to be portrayed? I mean, it's not true. That's not true. That is not true. It's simply not true. But as time goes on, this will be put as gospel. Oh yeah, he was shot in the ear. Someone tried to kill him. A guy in the stand died. What did he fire? 6 to 8 shots. Killing 1, wounding 2, and hit Trump in the ear. I mean, I've spoke to people before, and they thought the gunshots sounded real. For me, they didn't. They never for me. And we did say, we touched on it when it happened, and we did say, well, we'll see what his ear's like. Because from what I could gather, the damage should have been quite substantial. But in the end, there was no damage. Even though we had all the blood. Remember the blood, but then he had the wee Band-Aid, and it healed up. And he even said in a interview, the doctor said I was the best healer in the universe. Paraphrasing, and it's like, fuck, wait a fucking minute, man. Are people genuinely buying this? He just healed up like in an instant. It's like, that it wouldn't even happen like that. If you had a nip out of your ear, you've pretty much got that. It heals. The cut heals. It doesn't grow back. I'm sorry, but it doesn't fucking grow back. If you genuinely think that your ear grows back when it's been had a nip out of it, in the sense of round the side, it doesn't, man. It doesn't. If you was to get a wee pinhole through it, then that'll close up. It would close up. But it would only close up over time. Not instantly. And if you had a chip out, I've seen people who they've played I'm sure it was rugby, and they've got bits missing out of their ear. I think I'm sure I've even seen boxers who have had bits missing, including Evander Holyfield. But you see it in amateur rugby, in amateur boxing, people have got their ears are ripped to bits, man. It doesn't grow back. And he should have had... There were several things that should have been that simply weren't, to be honest. So it was, again, one of these situations for me. I couldn't buy it, but other people, they kind of disagreed and thought it was a genuine attempt. I mean, hey, I could be wrong. Maybe it was a genuine attempt. Maybe it was. But if I was to bet on it, I couldn't see it. So July 21st, Biden pretty much steps down. So he's been pushed. He's been pushed out the way, and Camel Toe Harris jumps in to take on big Donald Trump toe to toe in the octagon. And remember Trump with the whole Hulk Hogan, and it was like Idiocracy Part 2. And it was just, I mean, I know, hey, I love the Americans, I do. But boy, do they like to over-egg the pudding, right? They over-egg the pudding. And it's, I kind of thought when I was watching that, Donald Trump and Hulk Hogan, and the guy Kennedy was there, it was like, fuck, is this like some kind of mad game show? It felt like one of the most American things I've ever seen. And I don't know if an American could could feel the same. But for me, sitting here in Scotland, when I was watching it, I thought, fucking, this is like the most American thing you could ever get. Hulk Hogan and Donald Trump running for presidency and all these different entities. It was like kind of surreal, to be honest. Pretty surreal. And so kind of far away from reality. It was like Hollywood, basically. Which is fitting because, I mean, the WWE, WWF, the wrestling is theatre, Hollywood, entertainment. And politics is pretty much the fucking same. There's not really any difference at all. The people that run wrestling make about as much decisions as the people that seemingly run the political landscape. And they're both conning you, they're both actors, and they're both out to get your money, basically. So they're getting itchy back. They're probably more similar than we care to imagine, let's face it. So Camel Toe Harris stepped in, and it was a bit like, okay, now here we go. And we seen it coming. I mean, you'd have to be blind not to see it coming. I'm surprised Biden's even still going. If he is still going, of course. But it was pretty clear that it was going to be Trump. It was Trump. Trump was the one that was going to be put in again. It was never going to be Camel Toe. It was never going to be Biden. I did for a wee bit kind of think, oh, wait a minute. Are they going to put in Clinton or Big Mike? Is Big Mike going to come swinging in? That's who I did think. I thought, oh, they're clearing the way. And then at the final hurdle of the campaign, Big Mike comes swinging in all her glory and steals the the corrupt election. I mean, they're rigged. I was pointing out the Putin election, 87, nearly 90% of the vote. I mean, they're rigged in Russia. Guaranteed, they're rigged in America. They're rigged in Britain. You can be guaranteed of it, man. And I hate saying that because you kind of hope there is some form of democracy, but there's not. There's not. We've all been sold out, man. We've all been sold out a long time ago. In an ideal world, you like to think that people have got the power. People say what the world should be, but it's not. It's not how it goes down. It's an illusion, man. We've been somewhere along the line. We fell asleep at the wheel. If we ever had any kind of control, that is. It's possible that we've never. Here's another story as well. In regards to the whole music industry and hip hop. Who are these entities? How much can we believe about them being an actual person? Are they still here today? There's been a constant theory surrounding Eminem that he died and years ago and got replaced as a clone, as a robot, as an actor. And then you get different things coming out. Like, for example, and this is why I put this in, Eminem released an album in July 22nd called The Death of Slim Shady. The Death of Slim Shady. And you can see why it's like adding fuel to the fire, right? It clearly is adding fuel to the fire that this particular individual probably is not here anymore. And that's what I mean by, do you know, a lot of the time there's a perception that so-called conspiracy theories are started by some mad fucking lunatic in his basement, or something crazy like that. But in reality, it's not. They come from things like this that are put out there, the names of books, albums, media outlets that'll put out a story, and it goes on from there. The majority of time, theories stem from the media, the news, and there will be a high percentage of that is pretty much misinformation or disinformation. But I think there is truth out there somewhere. Finding it is a different story. And of course, Taylor Swift. I think Tyler Swift might be a better name. Tyler Swift. I think she also became seemingly, she became a billionaire this year. And I know, like, young people tend to become obsessed with celebrities. But this has a weird fucking feel to it, man. A very weird feel. And it's like, it's a lot deeper. It's a lot darker. And it has this kind of cult feel to it, where it's a lot more than, oh, they think she's a good singer. It's very, I don't know, it's got this bad feel to it, man. And not just the music that she sings. I'm not just meaning that. It's just the whole thing, man. I don't like it. I do not like it. It's got a very dark sort of vibe, a dark frequency connected to it. And that's my kind of gut feel. And honestly, it's never let me down. But yeah, that was the death of Slim Shady and Tyler Swift. I think they called it even Tyler Swift Mania. Like it swept across like a disease, man. Like a disease. July 26th, Summer Olympic Games officially open in Paris. Parlez-vous français? Yeah. The 33rd Paris Olympics. And that was a fucking freak show if I'd ever seen one. Honestly. And hey, that's probably deemed hate speech. Did you hear what he said about the Olympics? It was a freak show, man. That's what it was. The only thing I can remember is that the strangest, weirdest, sickest, most absurd opening ceremony I've ever seen, man. And I've watched quite a few of them hectic, strange ceremonies. But that was so messed up, right? It was so weird, man. And no wonder they got a load of so-called backlash about it. It was the most strangest thing ever. Honestly. Oh, man. Where did they get these folk from? Who think that any of that was a good idea? Was it a dare? Did somebody dare someone? Oh, I'll dare you to do this. We'll get a naked fucking Tronny Smurf and put him on the Last Supper I mean, what the heck? Honestly, it was so it was so messed up. I just kind of want to forget that whole situation. But it was so strange, man. The only thing I really remember about the Olympics is that, and remember the guy from Turkey who was shooting, and there was like a million memes about him. But there was another shooter. Did he not? Was he not like shooting with his back turned? He's like had his back turned to the target. It was shooting blind, or like using a mirror. I'm sure. And of course, the Australian breakdancer, she was probably stole the show. Which is, if that doesn't tell you something, what was the best thing about the Olympics? Well, it was the shittest dancer to grace the world of breakdancing. Yeah. So I used to quite like the Olympics when I was a bit younger. I used to watch the Olympics and the summer and the winter Olympics. I quite liked the Winter Olympics. It was a bit less. There seemed to be, although they still had the weird fucking open ceremonies at the winter ones, but they seemed to be a bit less political. Maybe it was too cold for that. But these days, I'm not keen on it, man. Everything's been ruined basically and destroyed by, I don't know, wokery. It's a word now. Destroyed by wokery. So yeah, again, sport, Olympics, we'll skip that one. August 7, who confirms a deadlier strain of Mpox, formerly monkeypox, because remember that it's racist. You're not allowed to call it monkeypox. Remember, remember we covered it, and the monkeys had been phoning up and saying, "Look, what's the score? Why are we being called a virus?" Basically, so the monkeys weren't happy. So the WHO changed it, right? I mean, I don't know. Somebody tried to say it was racist to call it monkeypox. And it's like, wait, what? And we got that with when they came out, the Indian variant. Seemingly India were unhappy. And it was called the Indian variant. And it's like, well, it's only due to where it originated. It's not anything to do with Indians as a people. And of course, monkeypox is because where it seemingly originated, which is quite an interesting story. And one that I'd have to be careful when I talked about it. But it's like, oh, that's where it came from. Huh. Funny that, but there you go, right? August 8th, tropical storm Debbie, again in America. August 9, passenger plane crashes in Brazil, killing all 61 people on board on a flight to Sao Paulo. Remember that in August? It doesn't feel that long ago, really. Remember the video it went viral? Is that not the plane where they reckon there was doctors on it? Or cancer doctors going to some kind of convention? And the plane just fell out the sky? Well, if the video is to be believed, of course. It appeared to be legit. And when it did happen, we did say, well, I wonder who was on it, though. Because when planes crash, it tends to not be by accident. Although the way work ethic is today, yeah, I guess you maybe are a wee bit more at risk. Again, because of the whole wokerati situation and employing people because they're pink or blue instead of their actual fucking experience. So there is that side of it, to be fair, but I always tend to think, look, these usually are not by accident. And then when you look at the flight list, it's like, coincidence, right? Just a total coincidence, of course, yeah. And the plane crash situation it's definitely been escalating. So again, September 15, Trump assassination attempt foiled. Wah, wah, wah. So I guess better luck next time, right? Again, this one was a bit suspicious. It didn't feel right. If you look at Trump's got the history of US president, businessman, and TV personality. He's TV personality, which of course would mean actor. Right, but instead of writing actor, TV personality. Yeah, because the whole Apprentice situation, and I think he was in Home Alone as well. Was it the first one or the second one? But he's liked by a lot of people, Trump. Not so much in the northeast of Scotland, but we've got our reasons. We've got our reasons for that, to be fair. So, I mean, I wouldn't rule out seeing more so-called assassination attempts. I think we could be okay for 2024. We could be okay for that, but in 2025, yeah. So September 16, Diddy got arrested, seemingly. Arrested and charged the next day, sex trafficking, racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitution. I mean, yeah. Like some of the most grotesque crimes that you could be fucking involved in, that, man. Honestly. There's no morals, there's no boundaries whatsoever, man. There's nothing that's off limits to these entities who, I mean, you've really got to kind of wonder, are these people even fucking human, man? Are they from the same part of Earth as us? Honestly. Honest to God, man. And you could say, look, he's maybe, for the benefit of the doubt and playing devil's advocate, I guess, he's maybe not guilty. But come on. Going by what we already know about the music industry, the Hollywood industry, these particular celebrity circles, hey, he's going to be guilty of that and probably a lot more. Where that situation's going to go, God only knows. People call it a distraction. I get that. But again, like I've said many times in the past, it's all a distraction, man. The whole lot. And there was the drone situation when Biden was doing the pardons, and someone said, oh, the drones is just a distraction from the part. We know that, hey, the pardons is no secret, man. Fucking hell. If you've not noticed by now that when these entities jump out of the job, they'll do favors for the most horrendous people. So you had Biden pardon his son, Hunter Biden. And it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, that shouldn't shock people. If that's shocking anybody, you're honestly not grasping how far gone these entities are in terms of the evil they commit. The pardoning of any individual is next to nothing to what these entities have been enabling and selling us out time and time again, man. Time and time again. And a lot of the time it's only due to their own selfish needs, their own selfish desires. The money, the mansion, you name it, whatever it is that makes them tick, and they want it by abundance. They get offered it and they take it, but at what cost? A lot of the time they themselves do have to make a big sacrifice, but the biggest loser is us, because we lose out long term. And as people come in and people go in terms of presidents and prime ministers, we're drifting further and further away, man. Because each time we get sold out even more. That's why I said, look, we jumped from the frying pan into the fire. And people got, you see how they work it, because people got so disillusioned by the current, what was then the current system, the Tories and their political setup, and it was so bad, People were that desperate. They thought, well, if I vote Labour, they might sort it out. They might be better, even if just a tiny wee bit better. But the reality is, it's going to be worse, man. They're going to continue it even more and take us further away. And it's a cycle that continues, and it's probably been going on as long as politics has been about. Is that another situation where, yes, you can walk away from the system, but can it be changed from within? Probably not. And I think if you did try and do it, you would be getting a knock on the door. And then that might be the last time you answer the door. Because there's two big arenas where they don't let anybody in. One is the pharmaceutical arena, and the other is the political arena. Any other one, you can pretty much do as you please, but when it comes to that, history's pretty much proved, in my own view, that no one gets in their way. That's their game, you see, right? That's their game. They seem to run. September 18, Tupperware brand, maker of plastic kitchenware since 1948, files for bankruptcy in Florida. Tupperware brand. I mean, people didn't stop buying Tupperware, right? If you've been a business for that long, you would kind of think, well, I don't know, interesting. I think maybe they might have seen the smoke before the fire and got out. Because the plastic situation is a steamrolling situation. Walkie-talkies, again, September 18. Remember that? The walkie-talkie, I shouldn't laugh, but of course Hezbollah got... It was interesting how it happened. 1 week you had... It was like the commander of Hezbollah one of the top commanders, he done a special broadcast informing the soldier of Hezbollah not to get a mobile phone and to only use a walkie-talkie. And then they get shipped in a load of walkie-talkies that fucking blow up. I mean, the guy pretty much set up his own people. He set them up. Could it be that even Hezbollah is a controlled entity by the powers that be? I mean, they walked right into it, man. Honestly, I don't know how stupid you could be to make a public announcement and leave yourself wide open when you're at war, man. Yeah, I'm sorry, but just no, you just wouldn't. A public announcement, give me a break. And you don't think your enemy would pick up on that and somehow manipulate it to their advantage? I mean, it had setup all over it. It was like a complete setup. A complete setup, man. So I think most people remember that situation. Yeah, they walked right into it. So what did they kill? 20 people, injuring more than 450. As the Israeli Defense Minister declares, quote, "We are at the start of a new phase in the war," close quote. Honestly, it had set up all over it, that situation. Strange. Very strange. September 21st, Google signs a 20-year deal to buy power from the 3 Mile nuclear power plant, the site of a nuclear accident in 1979. Google bought a power plant. I mean, how much power does Google need to power its AI machine? Honestly, I mean, what's that all about? I mean, it's kind of like the last entity you would... Wait, Google? But energy from a power plant? I guess we all need energy, right? But that just doesn't sit right with me, that. I'm strongly dislike Google and Alphabet as a company, which of course owns Google, who of course owns YouTube, and it's like, I mean, once you start stripping it back, it pretty much boils down to BlackRock and Vanguard. Two companies that are pretty much the same fucking entity. I mean, it's incredible, that, man. Truly incredible when you think about it. So we're into New Year's Eve now. Hogmanay's Eve. So the final countdown. October 1st, Mexico got its new president, female president. And yeah, a few people had a few interesting things to say about her. I mean, Mexico, one of the most corrupt countries probably in the world. Not that there's any that are not corrupt, but I mean, yes, she won't be good news. She will not be good news. And how long will she last until her head's on the fucking pavement? Again, October 1st, Iran launches a major missile attack on Israel. Remember when that happened? And Iran phoned them up and said, look, we're going to launch an attack. Expect the missiles at 2 a.m. Because that's how war operates, right? You let your opponent know what you're going to do. I mean, you don't. It was absurd. That again, that was a situation that I could not wrap my head around. It's not. It's just none of it made any sense. And of course, I don't think they even damaged it. It was completely pointless, man. I could have done more damage myself as an individual. Without going into to too much detail. Why am I getting cramp? There we go. October 14, Russia. Russian man rescued after 67 days adrift in an inflatable boat after his brother and nephew died in the sea of Russian's Far East. 67 days, man. Like a proper castaway. Oh, that would be brutal, that, right? Kind of hard to imagine what it would be like just drifting. Try not to drink too much seawater. Hoping it'll rain. Collect that water. I mean, what would you be scavenging the surface for seaweed and I don't know, any dead bits that were floating? Yeah, I don't know, man. Fair play. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think I would last that long. I genuinely don't think I'd make it. Yeah. Hey, maybe I would. What do I know? I would hate to put it to the test. Put it that way. I would hate to put it to the test. November 5th, Donald Trump is re-elected. I think we remember that. Beating Kamala Harris. To become only the second president elected to non-consecutive terms after Governor Cleveland in 1884 and 1892. And the oldest elected as well. I wonder. November 5th also, and this one cracked me up, man. It's like, what? No, honest to God. So the world's first wooden satellite made of wood, named LignoSat, that will burn up on re-entry, developed by Kyoto University to address space junk, launched from the Kentucky Space Center, a wooden satellite. Wooden. Oh, fucking hell. A bit like Pinocchio's nose, right? Because that was wooden as well. A wooden satellite. Alright, okay. Because it's space junk, right? Yeah. Right, so it's going into space. A wooden satellite. Fuck, I'm surprised they never made the Apollo instruments from wood. That would have been a... Wait, what? It's too hot. Too cold. Yeah. Maybe wood. Yeah, maybe they should have just made it a wood. Maybe they should have made the Apollo rocket a wood as well. Hey, it's 2024, right? Made a wood. I mean, hey, okay, yeah, sure. It's only going into the fucking sky anyway. So it's not quite... But of course, there's an illusion of satellites in deep space and that whole kind of thought. But in reality, it's not the case. Far from it, to be honest. December 1st, US President Joe Biden pardons his son Hunter Biden for being a crackhead, reversing an earlier decision. Because, of course, Biden, I mean, he probably can't remember what he said fucking yesterday, but he came out and said, "Oh, I won't pardon my son and or any silly people." And of course, he backtracked on that. And to be fair, someone did say in a comment, "Oh, would you not pardon your son as well And I kind of thought, that's a tough question, that, to be honest. Would I pardon my own? It would depend what he done. It would depend on what he done, I think. And I guess the bottom line there would be: is it the right thing? It's probably not the right thing for a president to do. But of course, you would have to be a person of good standing, of good morale, to stand firm and say, look, it would be an abuse of position and a betrayal of the people for me to use this for what would basically be a selfish benefit in pardoning your own son. So I kind of feel that as much as I would probably consider it, I don't think I could do that. I genuinely don't think I could. I would be... Nah, I couldn't. I couldn't do it. At the end of the day, I couldn't. I would have to say, look, if you've done the crime, you can fucking do the time. If you do the crime, you do the time, right? If you get caught. So, I mean, should anybody be pardoned without good reason, to be honest? Of course, if you're not guilty, then yeah, but I don't know why I don't know where this pardoning originated, but it seems a bit, I don't know, it's got a kind of sketchy feel about it, hasn't it? When it's like, yeah, it doesn't feel right, to be honest. And they do it when they're going out, so then no one can hold them to it. So it's like sneaky, right? It's pretty fucking sneaky, that. Oh, before I go, release the prisoners. But like I said before, it's not a new thing. It's not a new thing, man. They're so corrupt. It's kind of beyond fucking comprehension, to be honest. December 2nd, Joe Biden lands in Angola. I wonder how that went on. He was going on a trip to Africa. I mean, what was the fucking point in that? What was he really up to? And he was there again he was in sub-Saharan Africa in 2015. I mean, what? Again, I really don't know why they do. It's always like a cover story. Oh, he's going on a charity visit or something like that, but in reality, it's some kind of shady deal being worked. I dread to imagine what, to be honest. December 3rd, Nambia elects its first woman president. Good luck to them, right? Sexist! Get them off! I'll be getting arrested tomorrow now. Sexism. Hate speech. I mean, I have heard people say, to be fair, people have said in the past that a woman shouldn't be president or prime minister. I tend to agree. Sorry, I tend to disagree. I tend to disagree. And as much as there has been bad ones in the past, there's not been too many. So I feel that would be kind of unfair to tar the whole female sex with the one brush. And I've got a bit more faith in females, at least strong traditional, more old school females. I think they've got a wise head on their shoulders The younger ones, not so much. But it kind of comes with age. But in my own view, men are twice as bad a lot of the time. They're twice as quick to fucking sell us out. So a strong-headed woman might be a wee bit more stubborn. They might have that. I'm digging myself a hole here. They might have that wee bit more of a stubborn streak to stick to their guns, which would maybe help in the long run, right? So yeah, I'm quick to defend our female partners and sisters. I wouldn't tar them, but there's been bad ones, but there's been plenty of bad fucking male presidents and prime ministers. Let's face it. It's humans, innit? It's without splitting it into who's the worst. It's just humans, man. It depends on the individual, what they're like as a person. And let's face it, good people don't get to the top in politics. So whoever gets to the top in politics, whether it's a woman or a man, they're going to be corrupt, man. And that's a guarantee. Otherwise, they don't make it. And I think they do tend to get a bit of wiggle room with maybe what they can maybe adapt or adjust. But in the long run, they've got to toe the line. They've got to toe the narrative, or they're going to be out the door. And I kind of wish that wasn't the case, but it's politics, man. December 4th, healthcare. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson shot and killed outside a hotel in Manhattan. A targeted attack. Is that the one? Did they not? What was the guy's name? The assassin? They claimed was the assassin. That was another weird one, right? And that was not long after I said, look, there's more things are going to happen between now and the end of the year. They'll be sliding it under just over the line, sort of. December 7, Notre Dame Cathedral reopened. What kind of ceremony was that, man? All the world leaders. I mean, yeah, it was one of these things that had a very strange feel to it. December 8th, Assad flees to Moscow. And a few weeks before this, we did say, well, Syria, we talked about back in like 2011 and in 2012 and the whole Syria situation. Remember the White Hats situation? It was ongoing. It never went away. And then we had Assad fucking making a run for it to Moscow to be under the bosom of Papa Putin. Strange looking character, Assad, right? I always thought he spoke weird as well, and that's coming from me. I don't know, it was a weird, I just found him a very strange kind of character, to be honest. But again, timing is key, and I think we're going to see a lot more from Syria's direction. December 17, Pope Francis says 2 assassination attempts on him were foiled by British intelligence and Iraqi police during his visit to Iraq in 2021. Oh, man. I'm laughing, but the Iraqi police foiled it. Yeah. Imagine the Iraqi police and the British intelligence working together to protect the Pope. What an odd combination. If you're getting foiled by the Iraqi police, hey, don't give up your day job. Honestly, right? I mean, that's a bit of a weird one, that. And to come out, why would you even come out and say that? I mean, surely it would be like, it would be a bit of a security risk to even come out and say that. Because you're putting the idea out there. You're kind of promoting the idea. So I find that quite strange. And I very much doubt. I mean, how's anybody going to get to fucking him when he's hidden away constantly and he's got a car with a big glass protector on it, which I find quite funny. I mean, yeah. Hey, where do you start with the Pope, right? Where do you even begin with the Vatican and that lot? December 17, Russian General Igor Krylyov, head of country's chemical weapons, assassinated by a bomb in an electric scooter in Moscow. And that was one where Ukraine took responsibility. Zelensky, the actor, oh, we done it. And from what came out of Moscow, there was a threat of potential escalation, which I don't think we did see. But it was not long after that the whole drone situation kicked off, which I thought was interesting. It seems to have died down. So will it be a flash in the pan? Could we see more with the drone situation? I'm unsure. But I think we got through there, 41 different slides. And I took it down from 60. And I did think the back of 12, and we're at 12:24. Kind of fitting. And we're pretty much done, apart from rounding it up and winding it down. I thought that was quite a good image there. I don't even know where it's from or who done it. I don't know if it's AI or someone put it together, but quite a fitting one, right? The big hidden hand at the top. Then the two hands pulling the strings of what appears to be military. Because in my own view, militaries of the world, they're not controlled by a sovereign nation. And a lot of people they can find themselves asking the question, why do the military not protect the nation like they should? An example would be immigration on a kind of invasion scale. And people scratch their head thinking, well, the military should step in. Well, they won't, because they don't. They basically don't. They're not here to work for the people. Similar to the police. The police they're not for the people. They're like a private entity that'll work for anybody who fucking pays them the money. And again, it's another situation where people are left well, why are the police not do? Well, they don't fucking work for us. All they do is protect the powers that be. So they'll protect the councillors, the MPs, the big business, the doctors, the science, The wee guy on the street, forget it, man. Forget it. You're nothing to them. So the police have been a gigantic letdown, albeit not surprisingly. But it would be nice to hear a wee bit more. I wouldn't hold my breath. Similar with the military, but I can maybe understand why no one would speak out who's maybe already or currently in the military. But again, I would not hold my breath and I would not expect anything from them, although in an ideal world, they should be saying, hey, whoa, stop the bus, wait a minute. Because if a guy like me sitting here in Elgin can see how criminal these politicians are, surely to God, the smart people in the military can see it. Because it wouldn't take many fucking brain cells to work out what's going on here. Because we're all getting done over, man. So in an ideal world, you would expect people to stand up and say, look, wait a minute, actually, you've crossed a lot of lines here. You've sold the people out. In a gigantic way. Because it's on a mass scale. And I'll tell you, the jails would be packed, man. They would be packed to the brim. If I could get my way in putting that lot into where they belong, man. But hey, none of us get out scot-free. None of us. We'll all get our day when it comes down to it. We're all going to get our day. And in my own view, the people who have sold us out, they might think they're sound and safe in their mansions, but when their day comes, all of that will be gone. And again, in my own personal opinion, they'll be judged on what they done. And we all will. So as much as I think we're in a lot of trouble, I know, and again, it's my own view. For me, they won't nobody gets away. So we keep going, we don't bend, we don't break, we keep doing what we can without becoming beat up and obsessed and just completely drained constantly by the continuation of the fear driving, the climate fear, the space wars, the you name it. The list is endless, man. And of course, you could say, look, well, you could avoid it. You could try and avoid it. But we fight it head on. In terms of how we go forward from here, that's life, but not as we know it. We take it head on, man. If what's going to be is going to be, and hey, we've done enough. We fought through enough. We're still here. We're still going. Whatever's going to come ahead, we'll take it on, man. No fear whatsoever. No fear. And we keep going. We keep looking for things that we know that'll keep us going in life. And we all need that from time to time, that boost from whatever it is that keeps you going, keeps you ticking, makes you feel happy. Whether it be photography or going out in nature or caring for an animal, caring for a plant even. I mean, something so simple can bring you so much fucking joy, so much benefit, man. And a lot of the time it's all overlooked because a lot of people, they've lost their way as to what can make them feel happy. Like the latest gadget or technology, PlayStation 5, or if I get one of them, if I buy a computer, or that might keep me happy and stuff like that. That won't. And again, that's artificial. There's nothing real about it. Caring for an animal, a human, even a plant, man, even a succulent, even a cacti, it doesn't even need much caring. But the benefits you can get from looking after that are priceless, man. Truly priceless. And same with caring for an animal. I always think that there is a lot to that. It brings responsibility, and I mean, you get loved back by it, but whether it be a dog or a cat as well. People say cats are not loving, they are. I guess any pet, to a degree, you can find comfort in caring for it. The only downfall with the pets is the lifespan, and I've that's definitely been something that it's a kick in the stones, man. Anytime you lose a pet, and my whole life, I've had pets my whole life, even from a young baby, cats and dogs in the house. I don't think I've ever went a day without having a family pet. It's mostly been cats, but there's been dogs as well. And I think in total maybe lost about maybe into double figures of cats that have passed away. And it is a kick in the stones, man. But as much as there's pain in it, maybe there is some kind of learning in that grieving, potentially. Because it got to a point where I had even said, look, to my wife, look, after that, we won't get another cat. And of course, she talked me into getting one. When my last cat, Felix, he passed away. And he was a great cat, although he was a wee bit handy with his claws. He was a wee bit handy with his claws, and for some reason, he never liked getting touched. Like on his side. So anybody that patted him on his side, without me warning them, they would end up getting clucked. They would get scratched. And I'd be, oh, by the way, don't touch the cat. And they're like, oh, you could have told me that. He just cut my hand open. And he was like a big chubby cat. He was a great cat. I had him for years. I've had many cats, so yeah, and you'd think over time you would get a bit more. It would become easier, but it tends. I mean, I can only speak from my own experience, but it tends to be just as hard, to be honest. When I think about it, it's like, well, it's never got any easier when in dealing with the loss of a pet. And it does hurt. And I mean, I've lost people that I've loved endlessly. Like my father, I've lost grandparents. I've lost best friends, man. And then I've lost pets, and it hurts similar, if not the same. Because you tend to miss them, and you tend to think about them, and it's the same with a pet, man. It is for me anyway. It's maybe not the same for other people, but Yeah, it is. I think that you can get a lot from it. Obviously, if you've not had children, you can care for other things that you can get benefit from. So there is stuff out there, and I think we're on the right track. We keep going. Like I always say, we don't bend, we don't break. We just keep our heads up, and we go into the new year, right? With any optimism that we can grab. Anything that you can grab it with both hands, right? Love is pain. Yeah, yeah. I take it you're a married man as well, then. Let's not go there. But yeah, kind of hard to argue with that. Mark of Oz. Hopefully you have a great new year and all the best for 2025, right? Quite incredible. 2025. Justine, thank you kindly for all the support. Justine, a rock. That's life, but not as we know it. A staple, part of the furniture. And yeah, always a pleasure. I'm very grateful to have you here. Darrell as well, good to see you. I see Darrell over at Joe's house, which is great. Great to see you. I hope you have a great time. RD, good to see you, RD. I hope you're doing well, and I wish you all the best. Tonit as well. My cat of 16 years. Yeah, I know it's a tough one, not right. It is a tough one when you're unsure if you're going to get a new pet or not. I know it's an awkward one, that. For me, we have always kind of went on to get another pet. But yeah, it's a tough one when you try and make that decision. I think it's a good idea to get another one. For me personally, I think you can try and, because they're all different. They're all their own character, and obviously you don't replace them, but you can get that similar joy, I guess, from a new pet. The playing and the character of the pet. You know, you're not replacing it, but you're, I guess, refilling that joy, trying to refill the joy that you lost. So I usually say to folk, well, just get another one. But I do understand people waiting, and I think that's totally acceptable. Probably the best idea is not to get one. But people like me, and I got talked in. I was unsure, and then my wife talked me into it. And I mean, that we've still got the cat, but it was kind of heartbreaking because she had 2 kittens, and one died at birth, and one ended up getting run over and then died. So it was within a few months. It brought quite a lot of pain, to be honest. So it maybe wasn't a good idea, but we've still got the cat, and we love her to bits, and she's most definitely part of the family, and she is a hell of a character as well. So great to see you, and let us know if you do get another pet. Darrell, Davina as well. I wish you all the best, Davina. I hope you're doing well, and hopefully we'll see you about, right? Joy as well. Good to see you. Hopefully you'll join us again. Hope you're doing well. RD, Justine, Sheila, always a pleasure, Sheila. I hope you're doing good, and I wish you all the best for the year ahead, and we'll hopefully catch you again. Joy, Davina, Jerry in the hood, our Irish brother. Good to see you. I wish you all the best, Jerry. Who did I miss there? Budgie Burger, there he goes. Hopefully see you about. I'm sure we will, Budgie. Always a pleasure. Hopefully you're doing well. Joy, Darrell, Mark, Justine, RD. I don't know how far back I'm gonna get to go. Ross as well. Hope you're doing well, Ross. Thank you for joining. Thank you for all the engagement. Same to Wendy B, another long-term sufferer of That's Life, but not as we know it. Thank you kindly. Ross, Budgie, Jerry, Sheila. Anybody else? Oh, Toffee, where did he go? Good to see you, Toffee. Hopefully a better year ahead for the Evertonians, right? Say no more. We'll say no more. Thank you again for all the support and engagement. I wish you all the best. Joy, Toffee, Justine. Oh, they cancelled. They never banned it. They cancelled it due to, I think, high winds. There's quite a big storm, seemingly. They've cancelled it before, but hey, it is what people will still celebrate it somewhere. Let's face it, they'll just make other plans and go elsewhere. So you can never cancel a party for a Scotsman. You can only move it to a different location. But yeah, good to see you, Toffee. I wish you all the best. Chilster as well. Good luck for the year ahead, and thank you for the engagement. Rebecca, another beautiful name. Thank you for joining. I hope you're doing well. Oh, Carl as well. Another long-term sufferer. Wish you all the best, and I hope you're doing well, Carl. Another person that I see about, which is great. Joy, Mark, Justine, Darrell, Rebecca, RD, Charmin in the hood. Good to see you, Charmin. Ulick was about somewhere. Ulick and Joni, I hope you have a great Hogmanay, and I wish you all the best. Oh, Crazy Jane in the hood. Great to see you, Jane. I hope you're doing well. Another person that I got a lot of time for. I wish you all the best. Oh, there's Ulick there. I wish you all the best. Ulick and Joni over in America, right? Best wishes. So I think, yeah, we went back quite a bit there. So we got pretty much everybody. If I missed you, I can catch you in a year's time. Oh, Lucy as well. Best wishes, and I hope you're doing well. More long-term sufferers than previously thought. Look, I'll do the jokes, Mark, right? Mark from Oz. Yeah, and more than previously thought to come than previously fought, right? We're victims of the syndrome. I think the Friday fix, it'll return in February, right? So January, we'll see. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll kind of regroup and look ahead, right? So we'll see how it goes, but stuff will return and we'll get down to it again. Let me see if have I got that Scottish song? Quick, Ronnie's playing a Scottish song. Cover your ears. Hopefully not bagpipes, right? I don't think there is. But yeah, hopefully everyone has a great time, right? We'll go into 2025 with no fear. What's the point in worrying, right? We can't stop time. We can only go forward. And we need to look after ourselves. We need to look after, I think, physically, mentally as best as we can, and be prepared as best as we can. So we keep going, keep our heads high. We do not bend. We do not break. And we do not live in fear. Don't do it. Nobody gets in your... Nobody, man! Nobody gets in the way. And like I always say, no matter what, no matter where, do not comply. And that is about it. Bye-bye.
And this is a song called A Man's a Man.